So in yesterday's video, I mentioned about a monstrous move heading for Tesla stock. Now, today we had great price action. Tesla did rise up. However, that's not the monstrous move that, I had in mind. Now, I think there is still more upside to Tesla. However, there's a couple of things that we want to talk about. Now, the whole premise of this upside was based on a couple of things, right? Now, one, good CPI data, which it looks like we had, CPI come as expected. However, we will touch on that later on in this video. And then two, based on everything that happened with Silicon Valley Bank. Now, I'm not going to go into the whole mechanics of everything that happened into Silicon Valley Bank recently because one, there's several other videos that cover this topic. I mean, it's just absurd how many people uploaded content on this, right? It's the whole clickbait headline thing that everyone's kind of talking about. However, I really want to keep this video very concise and just focus on what's really important, which is what's happening with Tesla stock. Now, I want to highlight something that I found pretty interesting, which is we saw that Cathie Wood purchased around $12 million into Tesla stock approximately, just a couple of days ago. However, just yesterday, Cathie Wood, purchased an additional $4.5 million worth of Tesla. So the question is, why is Cathie Wood pouring millions and millions of dollars into Tesla stock towards the end of Q1 for 2023? Well, there's a couple of reasons why I believe she's doing this, right? Well, there's two major catalyst events that I want to talk about later in this video that I think we should definitely keep our eyes out for. But also because there's this narrative, right, in the overall market where the Federal Reserve is in a tight spot, right? Because we have senators now, pointing the finger at Jerome Powell, the chairman of the FOMC, saying, you did this, and this is your fault for what recently happened to Silicon Valley Bank. And so now there's a concern, well, if you continue hiking rates, you're going to break something else and you're going to cause more damage in the economy. So now there's, this big prediction from massive amounts of market participants believing that come March 22nd, when the Federal Reserve makes their rate decision, that they're only going to raise by 25 basis points. Now again, raising by 25 basis points, at the end of the day, that's still hiking rates, that's still making things bad. However, 25 basis points is better than 50 basis points, right? And so the reason is because many believe that they just can't do 50 basis points. Now also on the other end of the spectrum, they can't just not hike rates anymore, because guess what? Inflation is still an issue. If we just look at the recent CPI report, yeah, it came out as expected, but that doesn't mean that inflation came down lower. So it was a good CPI report, but it wasn't like an absolutely great CPI report. In fact, if we actually dive into the facts, we see that things are still not looking good, particularly in the housing sector. And guess what? The housing sector is something that has a lagging time frame, right? So for the housing market to feel the true effects of these interest rates, it takes approximately 18 months. So we're still not getting the full effects of these interest rates. So we can't just not hike rates yet just because the CPI data is still not at great optimal level where the Federal Reserve would like. And so many believe, okay, well, if we hike by 25 basis points, that means that we're getting closer to a period of time where we don't hike by any basis points, which is the pause. And then after the pause comes the pivot where they start cutting rates, and that's when Boomtown comes, because obviously that's where the stock market thrives as risk-on assets seem more attractive. However, that's just one aspect to why I believe Cathie Wood is pouring millions and millions of dollars into Tesla stock. Now, as I mentioned earlier, there's two catalyst events, right? So the first one that I want to talk about is going to be the Cybertruck, right? We'll start off with that one. Now, we mentioned in yesterday's video how in one of Elon Musk's recent earnings calls, he mentioned that Cybertruck production starts somewhere in 2023. Right now, he said probably in the summer of 2023. However, he didn't hype it up as he believes that production is going to be very small. It's going to be very minuscule. And, true production is going to ramp in 2024. However, we're getting closer to the summertime. We're almost done with Q1 of 2023. I know time goes by fast. However, we're approaching the middle of the year, getting closer to that announcement. And, although this announcement may just be a short-term spike, it's definitely, something that could trigger Tesla stock to go up. However, the second catalyst event, which I think this is the big one, I didn't want to mention it earlier because I think this is the one we have to pay attention to. However, it's the one that's also less likely. It's not 100% certain, right? So what is the second catalyst event? Well, towards, I believe, Q3 of the earnings call for 2022, we heard Elon Musk mention about a $10 billion buyback for Tesla. Right now, I know some people are on the fence of this. Some people would rather that Tesla put more of that money more into building more facilities, which is also great. And then you also have on the other end of the spectrum individuals saying, yeah, buybacks are great. Regardless what happens, that would still be very bullish news. Now, the reason why I say it's less likely is because, not to be a hater or anything, I'm a big Tesla fan. I have exposure to Tesla in my long-term portfolio. I trade Tesla very often, but I don't like to just hold on to the words of what Elon Musk is promising. He's not always the best at holding his promises. Not saying anything about him, but I just am going to wait to see when this happens. Although I am adding more into my long-term portfolio, I am trading the uptrend. However, this if it does happen, could be huge, right? So we have Cathie Wood, who's probably just loading a little bit more shares as we're transitioning into a more optimistic environment where we see okay, well, CPI came out as expected. The Feds are going to most likely hike by 25 basis points. We have 2 catalyst events coming up, so that's probably the reason why she's doing this. Again, she manages, millions or actually billions of dollars. And so it really doesn't make sense for, for her to just play a guessing game, right? Obviously, one of the things I look at when it comes to trading is I look at what a lot of institutions are putting their money into, because at the end of the day, FINRA on their website, themselves say that institutions account for 75% of trading activity. So it's always something to keep an eye out for. Now, real quick, if you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already, simply because I am going on a 1-week vacation. I'm gonna be heading out of state to Chicago, and obviously I won't be able to upload as frequently. And so if you're not subscribed to the channel, you may miss out on some videos. But if you definitely want to see more news and get updated on what's happening in the overall markets, definitely hit that subscribe button. Also, make sure to check out the links in the description below, because the links are going to be to the Push and Profit program, where you have access to my private group, where every single day I give an update on what's going on in the market, what stocks I'm looking to trade, and the reason why. So definitely check out the links in the description below. Also subscribe. And with that being said, guys, hope you're having a beautiful day, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Take care, guys.